All right. Welcome back, folks, to the FF Face-Off, and this is our kicker streamers for Week 15, if you can believe it. Hopefully, you guys have made it to the fantasy football playoffs. If you are, congratulations and welcome. So right now we're going to get into our kicker streamers for this week. Now, in the 6 out of the last 7 weeks, I've given you at least one kicker who has finished inside the top 12 in scoring that has been rostered in less than 50% of leagues. So let's get into it right now. And this one's a little confusing to me. Matthew Wright is only rostered in 35% of leagues. He's at the Cleveland Browns on Sunday Night Football. Wright had a doink that was done right. This was on the way to a 16-point week leading into Monday Night Football, which this recording is prior to Monday Night Football. So leading into Monday Night Football, right now he is tied for first in scoring among kickers for Week 14. I like him in this matchup going up against the Browns. The Browns have had some good weeks against kickers, but the last 3 weeks they've allowed 8 points, 11 points, and then yet again 11 points. In the 3 games that Matthew Wright has played in this year, granted, one of them earlier in the season was with the 49ers back when Moody was going with his injuries. I had that graphic there. I'll throw it up one more time. In those 3 games, Moody scored 13 points, and then in the last 2 weeks, 14, 16. So he's easily getting over 10 points. So he's beyond reliable. So I would tell you, even if there's a thing, and I haven't heard anything yet, but if for some reason after this recording, if you hear Harrison Butker might be able to go, play him too. Because again, I like the points the Browns have been giving up as of late. But even if he doesn't, I have seen enough out of Matthew Wright to have enough confidence in the young man. Now let's go to our next player. That's going to be we'll stay in the AFC West, and we'll go to Mr. Will Lutz of the Denver Broncos. I hear a lot about Denver Broncos kicker Will Lutz on social media, which you can follow me at the FF Realist. Lutz is only rostered in 35% of leagues, but a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that last week the Broncos were one of 6 teams that were on bye. So this is one of those get ahead of the curve spots, if you will. So Will Lutz, the Colts kickers, by the way, the points they've allowed to kickers over the last 4 weeks, they have the graphic right here, 13, 11, 8, and then 12. If you can snag them, I would totally do it. The Colts are allowing right now the 8th most points to the kicking position. Along with that, the Colts have had 7 games with 10-plus points allowed. 5 of those 7 games have come when the Colts are on the road. Spoiler alert, the Colts will be on the road this weekend against Mr. Will Lutz and the Denver Broncos. So those are my first 2 plays so far. Matthew Wright, Will Lutz. We'll stay in the AFC, actually. We'll make a hat trick of the AFC, but this time we're going to go to the AFC South, and we're going to go with kicker who is returning to our kicker streamers video. He's not the sexiest name, but hey, last week was very top-heavy. You had 16 points, 16 points, 12 points, 11 points, but then you had dropped down to 7. And he was in that mold. Nick Folk was one of the kickers that I had picked last week to finish inside the top 12. He is inside the top 12. He will finish inside the top 12, regardless of what happens here on Monday Night Football. He's being rostered in 19% of leagues, and he is going up against the Cincinnati Bengals, which, one more time, plays on Monday Night Football. I like Will Lutz in this matchup. Folk was mentioned as a streamer in Week 14, like I said. The thing that to really look at, though, is that over the last 3 weeks, he is averaging 11.33 points. In the first 8 weeks of the season, Folk only had 1 game with 6 or more points. Since that time, in the last 5 games, he has scored 7 points or more. Only 1 time has he scored less than 7 points. So you see a very big switch from the start of the season to now. Nick Folk is coming on. Maybe it's a product of the opponent. Maybe it's just him. But again, what I meant to say earlier was over the last 3 weeks, he is second in points scored. The Bengals right now, leading into Monday Night Football, have allowed 26 points over the last 2 weeks. And I'll just say this too. This will not be the last time that you hear me mention Nick Folk's name on these streamer videos for the rest of the season, because in week 16 and 17, Nick Folk is playing defenses that are in the top 6 in points allowed to kickers. So there are points to be had here. I like Nick Folk quite a bit. I think he's a very sneaky play the rest of the way. I think some of the other names I gave at the top are a little more obvious. Nick Folk is the one who's a little more sneaky. So again, those are our plays to close it out for week 15 of your fantasy football kicker streamers. Matthew Wright, Will Lutz, Nick Folk. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to fire them into the chat. I will be coming out with a rankings video at some point this week, probably tomorrow. And you can follow me on X at the FF Realist. I'll answer any old questions there, but I will definitely do it here. So make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. And appreciate the support so far this year, guys. Let's finish this out strong. Let's get a fantasy football title. But until next time, stay thirsty, be kind to one another. Catch you guys on the flip side. Cheers.